next week's going to be a struggle, man, I tell you. I'm working 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, and I'm not even sure if I can get Bears Den out, but I'm going to do it. I don't know what the subject's going to be, but I'm going to do it. Anyway, on to the show. Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Codename Big Bear, or Stuart if you want to call me by my first name. Welcome to the Bears Den. Now, today I'm going to be talking about a game that hasn't had a sequel for a long time, and the reason I'm going to be doing that is because I've been playing the new Pokemon Snap. Now, if you watched my review last week, or me just talking about it last week, or whatever it is you want to decide that I was actually doing there, I don't really know, to be honest. I think I was reviewing it. I talk about, like, Pokemon Snap hadn't been around for like 20 odd years. And the thing is with Pokemon Snap, obviously it's part of a franchise. It is a spin-off, but it's part of a huge, massive, massive franchise. And there was no other game like that. You know, like no other game like it at all. You know, it was just unique. And on the N64, and it just had no sequel for ages, for a long, long time. And then, a few weeks ago, it came back. We got a brand new version of this game. Now, it's a sequel that has the original character in it, that helps you in this new game, and you know what? I absolutely love it. I genuinely love it. That's all I've been playing, and that's all I have been playing, so I've really got nothing to talk about. But it's actually a lie, because this game has got me thinking about a game that hasn't had a sequel whatsoever. And it's one of those games that's kind of, I wouldn't say unique, but it's one of those games that deserves a sequel, but it's kind of been left in limbo for about 20 years, and that's Conker's Bad Fur Day. Honestly, Conker's Bad Fur Day is one of my favourite games of all time. I remember actually, I got it, I've still got it, by the way. I've still got the cartridge, I've got the box, and it's all at Mum's, and it's all just kind of safe in there, and apparently it's worth quite a lot of money. I'm never going to sell it, it doesn't matter to me. But I remember getting it for £10, that's all I paid for it, was £10, not long after it came out. And I got it through the newspaper, so I literally found it, called up the person, hey, have you got this thing? And we drove up and got it, and I think I was like 10. I wasn't very old at all, probably 11 or 12 or something like that. And I played that game, and it just blew my mind. One, I thought it was hilarious. Everything about this game was just funny to me. You know, the crude humour, the singing poo, you know, the giant boobied sunflower, which hasn't aged well at all, and honestly, even the creators themselves have said if they're going to do this game again, they wouldn't put that in there anymore, and I think that's for the best, to be honest. So some jokes, like, actually not many, but some jokes haven't dated very well, and that's one of them, really. But this game is just, it was one of those. It was a unique look into Rareware and like how they were at the time, and they were really pushing the boundaries for Nintendo. And yeah, so Rareware were part of Nintendo originally. I mean, I'm sure you know all the history about this, but they were exclusive to Nintendo for a long, long time. They made Donkey Kong Country, Donkey Kong the way it is today. That design that you see of Donkey Kong now, that was down to Rare. They helped create Lilac Wars or Star Fox or something on designs as well. That was Rare. They did GoldenEye 007 on the N64, and that was them. They were on a roll. They had hit after hit after hit. Classic games. People that think back on these games go, oh, yeah, no, I remember that one. That's a really good one. And during the end of their time with Nintendo, well, I say, during the end of the time, that was kind of like, well, GameCube time. They had Star Fox Adventures, but they kind of started to hit a point where they thought, you know, creative-wise, they were kind of not being able to do much, and then Microsoft bought them out, and, well, I'm going to talk about it in a second. But during the end of the life of the N64, at least anyway, they decided to bring out Conker's Bad Fur Day, which was supposed to be this cutesy little platformer that turned into this really fantastic platformer, like really well made, tight controls, tight cameras, everything about it. The script was really funny, as I said, but the whole idea with this is that this was a cutesy platformer for adults, for late teenagers, for people that would just find these kind of jokes funny. It referenced movies throughout the entire thing. Saving Private Ryan has one of the best references in the entire thing, which is so good. You have Dracula, which was a film, Bram Stoker's Dracula to be more precise, which is a film that came out in 1992, which visually is a fantastic film. it's not really that great a film. It's Keanu Reeves has a weird accent in it, but they have all this stuff going on in there, and all these references are there, and they're really great, and it just worked for the time, because at the time, parody films were huge. You know, things like Scary Movie, Disaster Movie, and all those kind of, that rubbish, basically, was all there, and it was really popular and made sense for it to happen. But I really believe that now is like the prime time to bring it back. Now, the reason I think that is because Rareware have finally had a hit on their hands. I call them Rareware. I don't know why. That's what their name was originally. They're just Rare. But they finally had a hit on their hands with Sea of Thieves, which is like this big online multiplayer game. I've never played it. I don't know. It looks gorgeous, and I really should get around to playing it. But some of the guys here at Respawning play it, and they do a regular playthrough for YouTube. You know, so you check it out. There should be links below and all this kind of thing. But this kind of conversation came up a few months ago. I think I mentioned it. I was like, what has Rare done ever since Microsoft bought them? And the only game that came up that was any kind of success was Sea of Thieves. And I thought, what came before that? And I looked into it, and pretty much before that, when Microsoft bought them, they had Grabbed by the Ghoulies, which was okay. It wasn't the best. They had Perfect Dark Zero, which was okay. It really wasn't a patch on the original Perfect Dark on the N64, like, not at all. I'm really looking forward to the sequel, by the way. The new Perfect Dark. I'm so looking forward to that. I really hope they just do that game justice. It would be amazing. But then they also had Cameo, Elements of Fate or something like this, which again was okay. They did Nuts and Bolts, Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts. It was okay. You see a pattern coming here. These games were just kind of okay, and I think that Microsoft definitely had a hand in this. So Rare was very imaginative and very kind of, everything was bouncy and big eyes and everything was really fun. If you look at Yooka-Laylee, for instance, there's some of the original programmers and stuff that worked with Rare originally, and you can see kind of where that fun was coming from. Yes, there are some people who don't really like Yooka-Laylee, think the levels are a little bit too open and all that. I personally loved it. I think it was an amazing game, and I really need to play Impossible Lair. But those guys kind of knew what they were doing, and now Rare isn't that anymore. Microsoft took a game company that was making amazing games and then asked them to make avatars and Kinect Sports Rivals, asked them to do things they weren't letting them do their own thing until Sea of Thieves. You know, and I think that letting them, okay, so what did they do with Conker? Oh, it's awful. They did the Smart Glass thing and did Young Conker, and they redesigned him, and he looked horrendous. He looked horrible. He's in a weird tracksuit. He's got like weird, I mean, there's an image. It's gross, man. Really is gross. They remade the N64 game, which, to be honest, looks really great, and it plays really great as well. It's actually a generally really fun game, but they censored a lot of it. They took away a lot of the fun of the N64. Like, the N64 had swear words in it, whereas the Microsoft Xbox original game didn't. You know, they added a few things in there. They took away some annoying things. So, for instance, like the very first level, kind of, if you fall down the waterfall, you end up back up on the other side, but you have to kind of go around all the time. Whereas in you find the gargoyle at the bottom, but you have to go all the way around. It just doesn't quite work. And in the Xbox version, that doesn't happen. You don't even fall down there. You don't even go into that bit to find that last piece of money and see the gargoyle at the bottom. But they also have like creatures around, so like dolls or little kind of spiky dudes, and you've got to get rid of them to clear a path so you can do certain things. And that's just kind of a little bit annoying. Also, they took away the frying pan. Why did they take away the frying pan? One thing they did do very well, though, was for the movie references, they gave Conker costumes, and that was really cool. But anyway, I'm fully digressing here. I realise I'm ranting. But with Conker, like, you know, like I say, Microsoft really just have done them dirty. And Microsoft doesn't have much in the way of exclusives. You look at PlayStation 5. Now, again, I realise I've kind of gone back on myself. You know, I said PlayStation was dead to me, blah, 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 blah. But I am genuinely kind of, you know, this makes sense to me right now. Microsoft doesn't have exclusive games at all. It does. It has like Halo and Gears of War. It kind of has Dead Rising. Like every other game is exclusive to Microsoft or Xbox. You know, it has Sea of Thieves, obviously, which is good, but it doesn't have much. And he's using these old IPs that, you know, have been kind of done. You know, people are getting tired of Halo. I'm tired of Gears of War. Like, I love Gears of War. Genuinely one of my favourite franchises. But I played Gears of War 5 a couple of times, and again, I still love that game. I still happily give it the score I gave it, and it has bits, but I don't really feel the need to play it anymore. When a sequel comes out, I'll play that, and I'll probably just play it through the campaign, and then that's it, done. You know, so Microsoft just needs another IP, something they can kind of go, hey guys, we have an exclusive that is ours. We really played and put loads of fun into this, and that's Conker's Bad Fur Day. I really think it's that one. You've got Rare. Why not use the assets? Bring another Banjo-Kazooie game out. You know, use what they've done. You got Sabrewulf. Do something with Sabrewulf. Like, I know you bring out they bring out the Rare Replay, which was fantastic, by the way. 30 games for less than £30. Genuinely, you should pick that up. It's so good. They re-bring out Battletoads. Some people didn't like the remake. I personally really enjoyed it. But if they're starting to bring back the old IPs that Rare have done, why not bring Conker? And actually do something properly with Conker as well. You know, if you think worried about the movie references and stuff, you know, so what's the coolest thing that you can think of that kind of references similar to The Matrix? And also has Keanu Reeves in it, because apparently they really loved Keanu Reeves back in the day, because Bram Stoker's Dracula had it, The Matrix had it too. John Wick. Do John Wick references. You can do that quite easily. If you wanted to go down the war route again, you know, having like the Knights come out, you could go down the Indiana Jones route. You can do 1917 or Dunkirk, which I think would be quite a good one. Actually, the Dunkirk one would be quite fun. But there's loads of stuff you can do, and obviously with the humour as well, you could easily bring back. I say easily. You could bring back the Great Mighty Pooh. Even kind of like almost like GLaDOS kind of thing. When she came back and she was a potato, you could just have this little nugget. So gross. But you could have just a little singing poo or something, just kind of like whatever. But you could bring back that platform. There's not many games that have that kind of platforming element, and I really think Microsoft just